Hi, thank you for joining. Today's Python tutorial is going to be tutorial number 8, and the topic today is using while loops. So as you can see, I've launched the Python IDE here. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to create a few while loop examples. All right, the first one I'm going to do is a pretty simple example, and again, a while loop is keep executing the loop until the condition is met, and then it will terminate the loop. Okay, so I'm going to say x is equal to 0 in this case. So I'm defining the variable x, and I'm going to set the value to 0. Then I'm going to do a while statement. So I'm going to do while x is less than 10, and then I enter that while line with a colon. I hit return. You notice it'll automatically indent, and then I'm going to go ahead and do print the variable x, and then I'm going to go ahead and increment the variable, and now I can do that, say x plus equal to 1. So that's going to increment it by 1 every time. By the way, this is the same as this line here. This is the same as x is equal to x plus 1. Okay? So you can notate that either way that you want to. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do run module, and I'm going to go ahead and get the prompt to save it. And I'm going to go ahead and just call that while loop. Okay, you see what happened? It printed 0 through 9 on the screen, and that's because it went through the while loop, and as soon as it hit the number 10, it does not print it, okay, because it has to be less than 10. One thing you want to note here is the sequencing of events. In this case, I print the variable and then increment it, okay? If we were to change that, let me comment this out here with a pound sign. And I'm going to go ahead and type print x after the increment. I'm going to do run module. I'm going to say save. And you can see what happened here. It printed out 1 through 10, and that's because the loop was done prior to the printing. All right, so what I'm going to talk about now is an overview of an infinite loop or a while true loop in this example. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just comment out this whole section. And how you can do that, you just do 3 quotes at the end. Okay, and now let's create a new section. I'm going to say x is equal to 0. And I'm going to say while true. Okay, one thing you want to pay attention to is that true needs to be uppercase T. Okay, I'll hit return. And then I'm going to go ahead and say print x, and then I'm going to increment x by 1. Okay, I'm going to hit return. And you'll notice what will happen here when I run this. I'm going to do run it. I'm going to say save. And you see what will happen. It will just run continuously. And the reason why that is, until I control C, I broke out of it, is because in an infinite loop, is because it is always true. It would need to be false for it to stop. So in this case, it's always true every time it executes. We're just telling it to increment by 1. There is no false statement. So one thing, these loops can come in handy, and I'll use an example of a game. Let's assume you have a game where you're gathering user input. You don't want to just accept user input and then have it stop, because it might be constant input from the user. So in that case, you can say while true, I didn't mean to do uppercase, while true, colon, and then we can say user choice is equal to input, and we can say, what do you want to do? Okay, and then do question mark, then a space, and then close the quotes and close the parentheses. And then we can say if user choice is equal to equal test equality quit colon, then we want to break, right? We want to break out of that loop. Otherwise, we're going to do an else statement and we're going to say pass. Okay, so over here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to comment this section out. And I'll go ahead and put the quotes down there. Okay, so now this is the only code that'll run. So I'm going to say run. I must save it. And then over here, you see, what do I want to do? So I can type in anything. I must say play. All right. Finally, if I type quit, it's going to go ahead and break out of the program. Okay, so that's a good example of how to accept input until a certain variable comes into play. Okay, in this case, the users typed quit. Okay, so what we did there, user choice input, we put a message on the screen. If they type anything other than quit, it's going to fall to this else statement and continue or pass. Otherwise, if the equals quit, it's going to break. That's what I want to share with you today. Thanks for joining. Take care.